Okay, so today we will discuss very quickly and in a nutshell, we are going to go over the chapter on media. So, when you're talking about media, we are essentially talking about the impact of the media on society because we are looking at everything from the sociological angle. Do keep in mind that in this chapter there are three viewpoints on the media which are very important. The first is Marxism, which is also traditional Marxism. Then there is Neo-Marxism, and then there is pluralism. Add to that the modernist view and the postmodernist view. We will quickly go over that, so that should not be a very big problem. Let's look at traditional Marxism and how they approach the impact of media on society. So traditional Marxism says whenever you think of traditional Marxism, you will have to bear in mind that they look at everything from the point of view of manipulation. So that's the word that should come to your mind when you talk about traditional Marxism. They see the media as a means of manipulation of society. So, what do they say? They say that a mass society exists. Now, mass society is characterized by people. And by the way, the concept of the mass society emerged in Germany. It was something called the Frankfurt School. The Frankfurt School itself emerged as a reaction to the German Nazis somewhere in the middle of the Second World War. So anyway, so the mass society concept says that people in a society, the masses, are characterized by isolation. They're isolated from one another. There is social isolation. There is geographic isolation. They see each other but don't recognize their common interests in one another. They are isolated from one another. And this mass society then lends itself to manipulation by the media. The neo Marxists accept the fact. They say that the classes do exist and they do not reject that. But they say that this idea of this mass society and a mass culture associated with that mass society, this is a very a simplified version of reality. This is very simple. It's very simple to say that a mass society exists, and then there are people who are exploiting it through the media. They talk about what is called consensus. Consensus means 100% agreement. Okay, 100% agreement on certain things. All right. The media then helps to create or to manufacture this consensus. They say that people realize that they are powerless to change certain things, and therefore they go along with the flow. Okay. For example, the journalists, they know that there are certain things that they can report, there are certain things that they cannot report in society, so they go with the flow. Okay, they accept certain things that are being taught to them, or in other words, they accept certain values. They socialize themselves willingly. The main thing here is this is being done willingly. There is no manipulation. They are willingly socializing themselves and accepting certain values put on them by their seniors, or by the controllers of the media. And this then is hegemony. So hegemony is a situation where I'm not being manipulated, but I am willingly accepting the values of a dominant class. What's the purpose of that? To maintain things as they are, to maintain what is called the status quo, to maintain to bring about no big change in the social structure. The third point of view is pluralism. Now, please do keep in mind, pluralism or the pluralist perspective comes from the wide variety of consumer choices that are available. This is information diversity. So the pluralists say, where is the manipulation? There is no manipulation. There's not even the concept of this consensus manufacturing. No, no, no. There is no such thing. Diversity exists. Consumers can pick and choose what they want. They can pick and choose what entertainment items they want, or what news items they want, what media they want to watch, what media they want to just surf and flick and go to another medium of their own choice. So the word that goes with diversity is choice. The word that goes with Marxism is manipulation. The word that goes with neo-Marxism is hegemony or culture. The word culture can also go, because this is a cultural factor where people are accepting things. Another very important thing in the modern media is that gadgets are increasingly being manufactured, or they are being uh, uh, made for children. Children are major consumers of these products, whether they are hardware or they are software. Okay, so the pluralists in fact what they're doing is that they are reversing they are reversing the Marxist perspective. They are saying that the Marxist perspective is wrong, and that there is a lot of well, they don't explicitly use the word wrong, but there is a lot of choice available, and because there's a lot of diversity. So the role of the media then is to provide people with what they want. It's not to manipulate them. The pluralists will say the role of the media are just to give people what they want. That's it. Okay. Now let's go to the news, because the news is another very important factor when it comes to the media. So how is news selected? That is an important issue in the media. So media content is socially constructed. Okay, every news is not reported in a certain way in every country. Okay, a certain event takes place, it will be reported in a certain way in India, let's say, and it will be reported in a separate way in Nepal, let's say. Both will have different sociological requirements, and therefore the news will also be socially constructed. There are certain factors that go into making the news, selecting the news, and there these are three important factors which you need to keep in mind: are economic, political, and ideological. When we talk about economic factors, we are talking about the cost. This cost was especially a very big factor in old media. It's a lesser factor in the new media. New media includes the internet based media, Facebook, Snapchat, and all those things. But in the old media, the news channels, the newspapers, the cost was a very important factor. So, what used to happen was that instead of going and reporting the news themselves, which was a very costly undertaking, the newspapers or the news channels, what they used to do was they used to buy the news, purchase the news from what were called news agencies. These are there were three main news agencies: AP, Associated Press, Reuters, and the Agence France Presse, which is the AFP. That used to significantly reduce reporting and programming costs for these news channels. Then, secondly, there were the political factors. The political factors are what are the rules governing how news will be covered. Please do keep in mind that in democracies, there is no such thing as overt censorship. Censorship means putting restrictions on what you can report and what you can't report. So, uh, please keep in mind that this does not happen in democracies, that you're going to be told that there's something that you if you report, it will be censored, it will be stopped. No, that does not happen in a democracy. But what happens in a democracy is that there is what is called um, covert, hidden censorship. So, what is covert censorship? It can happen through security concerns about security, that look, you cannot report certain things on security grounds. Or copyright, there are certain things which are copyright, which is copyright material, and you cannot use it. And then there is libel, which means you cannot write something which hurts somebody else, which hurts somebody else's reputation, let's say. So you can't do that. So these are also ways of restricting what can be reported and what cannot be reported. The third set of factors which determines what you will report and what you cannot report are, of course, ideological factors. So ideology, we have already discussed ideology. Ideology is something that helps you make sense of the world, and your position in the world vis-a-vis others. So, nations have their ideologies, and reports will be made on the basis of these ideologies. These ideologies determine what are called news values. What are things? What are the values that will go in determining what news will be reported or not? In fact, ideological factors determine what news is and what is not newsworthy at all. Okay, if I don't, for example, if I don't have an interest in what is going on in, let's say, Mali, they don't figure in my ideological worldview, then whatever goes on in Mali will not be reported in my press. Okay, so ideological factors are very important. So let's do an evaluation now of Marxists, neo-Marxists, and the pluralists. The Marxists say there is a conspiracy to dominate one class by another class. The pluralists say there is no such thing. In the media, everybody is represented. If you don't like it, you can simply switch to another form of media which represents your viewpoint. And the media then also creates what is called discourse. The discourse simply means discussion, how a discussion will progress on a certain issue. Okay, so a discourse is a way of representing a viewpoint. Okay, what you speak, how you speak about something, that also reflects your values, your beliefs, your association with groups. Okay, and this is where I will briefly touch on modernity and postmodernity. Okay, so just bear with me. So what are postmodernists? Let's see the difference between modernist and postmodernist. So postmodernism rejects uh, you know theories. All comprising theories are rejected, like the white people have certain qualities. They will not accept such a theory. This is a postmodernist world. They will not accept all comprising theories. Okay, because postmodernist thinkers, and in this world, thinkers are very subjective. For them, nothing is right and wrong until they believe that it's right and wrong. They believe that there are no universal truths, and that's what most of the people today believe. They are postmodernists. Okay, there is no difference between high and low. Okay, the modernists, on the other hand, believed in grand theories. All right, they believed in, let's say, the Big Bang theory. The Big Bang theory was a grand theory of how the world came into existence, how the universe came into existence. But they do not accept all that. Also, keep in mind that modernity was characterized by a lot of seriousness. Postmodernity is characterized by a lot of playfulness. So the postmodernists believe that this postmodernist world is a very pluralist world. There is a lot of choice, there is a lot of diversity, and people actually have can choose. And the media plays a very important role in this postmodernist world. Okay, thank you very much indeed.